organized by the Mobility Working Group of the All Africa Students Union, led by Ms. Hilda Beck. In this session, we'll be listening to African students who are studying or have studied in countries other than their home country. And the session is essentially intended which can better inform all of us on the pathways to studying in other countries and also explore the inherent challenges and opportunities of studying in another country or region. Now, just to give a little bit of a background, it is estimated that 27% of the 430,000 sub-Saharan African students studying abroad are in Europe. And significant volumes of students also travel to other African countries, about 20% of them, especially to South Africa. Now, the number of internationally mobile sub-Saharan African students has grown by 21% over the past 5 years, which means that there's a significant interest or pursuit to study away from one's home country for varied reasons. For some, in search of other opportunities that are not necessarily inherent in their own countries, or perhaps to do courses or programs that are not directly available in their home countries. So we can infer that from these statistics that studying abroad is a growing trend for African students, and as much as many choose to study in Europe, there are quite a number that also choose to study in other African countries. So today, we are fortunate to have a diverse panel of students interact. So as much as we would hear from the panel, would also do well to open the floor for questions. Some of the questions will also be addressing we'll also be addressing some of the questions in our discussion. To briefly read out the bios of my panelists, after which I'll then invite them to make some few introductory remarks, and then after which we'll zoom in straight to the conversation. So as I did indicated, we have Mr. Yusufu Dauda-Labor, who is a Benin Republican and currently studying MA in forced migration studies at the Moi University, Eldoret, Kenya. His mobility journey has taken him across diverse multicultural environments within Africa, Nigeria, Togo, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Tunisia. Now, Yusufu has served as project coordinator, research assistant, consultant for social enterprises, NGOs, research institutes for more than 8 years. Yusufu, if you can hear me, I kindly invite you to take the floor and make your introductory remark in 1 minute. Yusufu.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
We can hear you a bit, but it seems you are breaking up a little bit.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I was used to the lab. I'm in Republic in West Africa. Okay, I was just saying I'm Yusuf Dawood from Benin Republic. The master's is in forced migration studies. That's what I can say for my introduction. Do you want me to talk directly or just the introduction?
Yes, I want you to just give your broad overview, just in 1 minute, your remark on the topic of discussion. All right, I think we just lost Yusufu. So while we wait for him to rejoin, I want to quickly move to Albert. Albert is a former local NUCS president. So in Ghana, there's a National Union of Ghana students, and as part of that, there are local representative of the union in each of the universities in Ghana. So he has formerly served as a local NUCS president of UPSA, that's the University of Professional Studies Accra, where he studied his Bachelor of Business Administration program. And he has served on various committees and boards of the Ghana Union of Professional Students and also National Union of Ghana Students. Before joining University Canada West, he was studying for his MPhil leadership program at UPSA as well. And currently, he is the president of NUCS Canada. He is the youth leader of PIWC Brampton in Canada and a member of the Toronto Youth Cabinet. So, Albert, if you can hear me, you have the floor to make your 1 minute introductory remark.
All right, thank you very much, Samuel, for the opportunity, and then thank you very much to the All African Student Union for bringing me on board to share my experience. I mean, growing up from a very small community in Tichy, I've always had the vim and the enthusiasm to meet other people, to be part of a diverse community. And so growing up, I've always wanted to have a taste of something different. And I had my first travel opportunity in 2019, where I went to Kigali when I was serving as local NUCS president for UPSA. And that experience gave birth to what we are seeing now. I mean, the fact that I went out there to meet other African students, to meet other people, other student leaders, and connected with them gave me a different perspective about life, a different perspective about globalization, and a different perspective about how people can interconnect and share ideas and values. So I'm very much grateful to be part of this meeting. I'm just hoping that it becomes a good and successful one. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Albert, for that introduction. I think that you mentioned a couple of things that are very interesting. You said that traveling is not only for the fun of it, but actually opens you up to a lot of diverse perspectives and to understand people better, and also to build yourself as a global citizen. So thank you so much, Albert, for that introductory remark. Quickly, I want to move on to Stefan Jelilate. He's the International Promotion Manager of ESTEC Business School for over 7 years, and he oversees the International Coordination for the Promotion Activities, and also he's responsible for advising and assisting applicants throughout the process and maintaining relationships with educational partners. He also contributes to the development of strategies to attract and support students within the institution. Stefan, we are happy to have you. If you can hear me, you have the floor to make your introductory remark.
Yes, Samuel, thank you very much. And really, this is a real pleasure to be here. Thank you, Samuel, for the welcoming, for the invitation. Thank you, Hilda. I met you like months before, and this is really a good pleasure to be here and to do a presentation about ESTEC and about all the ways we do for the student, for international student. At ESTEC Business School, this is a French business school who are here since 1961, and we have a lot of international students since years now. We have less or more 25% international students, and we do all the ways to welcoming them. We have a lot of services, we have scholarship, we have other ways to welcoming them. And for us, this is really important to welcoming more international students. Then to have this kind of voice, this kind of way to speak, this is really good for us. And I'm also with Roger Tessa. Roger Tessa, he is working for our bachelor program for the international promotion, and also he's an international student. Then he has a double cap. He can speak for that, for ESTEC, and he can speak also for his experience. So during our 20 minutes, we can speak about the welcoming of international students and with the personal experience of Roger Tessa. Thank you very much for the welcoming, and I hope we can have a lot of questions, a lot of conversation about it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Stefan. I think that after your presentation, I'm pretty sure colleagues would have a lot of questions to ask, especially about the scholarship opportunity that you have, and also about how you integrate or you help international students integrate into your university. I want to quickly also introduce Roger Tessa, and Roger is responsible for managing the bachelor program for international students at ISTEC. And as a professional, Roger handles the admission and promotion process for students looking to join a global school from abroad. He's an international student himself, hailing from Gabon, and successfully navigating the Campus France process to enroll at ISTEC in France. Currently, Roger is a contract apprentice at ISTEC Business School. He has comprehensive knowledge and in terms of the intricacies of studying abroad makes him an asset to the school and its students. Roger, I know Stephen has spoken, but since you also handle a different section at ISTEC, we'd also be happy to hear from you in 1 minute, your introductory.
Yes, thank you very much, Samuel. Okay, thank you very much, Samuel. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you, Hilda, and all the people here in the conversation. It's a real pleasure. As you said, I'm a student, international student in France, and also working at ISTEC as in charge of the bachelor program. When before coming here in France, I had some procedures that I will maybe talk to you later when I will give a little speech in few minutes. I will explain to you also how I had to do in terms of procedure to come here in France as a student, and also how I started my experience as a professional. So it's a real pleasure to share my own experience as a student, and I hope it will help everybody here, and especially for people who have a certain projects about coming here in France for international studies. Thank you very much.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Roger. Thank you. Do we have, is Wahima on the call? Wahima, can you hear me? Okay, I think that Wahima might have dropped off. Clement, Mr. Clement, Apere Kaita, can you please hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. For Clement is our own in-house person. I want to put it that way. So Clement Dateni is an innovative marketing leader with a wealth of experience in varied digital transformation and product management initiatives, armed with a bachelor's degree from the University of Commercial Studies and a master's degree in strategic marketing from the University of Ghana. Clement has established himself as a dynamic force in the marketing landscape. And currently, he is pursuing an MBA at Meikan Asia Pacific University in Japan, specifically focusing on Japanese management. Clement is at the forefront of cutting-edge marketing strategies. And as the head of product at Finance Mobile, Clement manages a diverse portfolio of high-valued products, leveraging his expertise to optimize client-agency relationships and execute successful marketing campaigns. I'm sure we'll hear a lot about his work later on in his presentation. But in the meantime, Clement, I yield the floor to you to make your 1 minute introductory remark.
Right, thank you, and it's good evening from here, and I'm sure it's good afternoon or probably good morning to the other parts of the world. So as someone rightly said, I'm actually part of the ASU team, so I'm an in-house member. So when I got the invitation to speak on this, I was very much happy because where I am currently, the cultural diversity is dichotomously opposed to most parts of the world. I mean, I'm speaking from Japan, so you would understand that it's quite diverse. So I was very much happy to share my view. So today we are not really going to focus about where you can go because, I mean, the resource persons on the call would give you how the means to get to any destination in the world. But we want to dive into the cross-cultural communication to be able to uncover the nuances and also the challenges that you would encounter when you get to these destinations. And of course, how to navigate them. So it's not only just a chance about global destination, but also to prepare yourself to be able to thrive in them. Yeah, so it's going to be a conversation, and I hope at the end of this session, we will have a deeper understanding of cross-cultural communication and how to make a difference.
Awesome.
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Clement. And that's rightly said. In thinking about moving from your country to study in another, you should consider a lot of factors, and also that some of them. One of them is what Clement has indicated about cross-cultural and communication. I'm pretty sure he will delve deeper into that when we move into this main session. I see Yusufu is back. Yusufu, can you hear me clearly? It seems Yusufu has dropped off. So now we can begin with Yusufu.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So welcome back again. I think that what you do is in 30 seconds, just try to give your introductory remark before we zoom into the main discussion for today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry because I have a very, very bad network. I don't know what's going on this morning, so bear with me. It will keep on taking me away from you, but I hope I will just manage. So I'm very, very happy to be here to share my experiences being an international student from Benin all the way to Kenya. This is an intra-Africa scholarship program. And I have been to Kenya for quite my master's degree. I've experienced also a lot of challenges here and there, and notably the COVID-19. I was in Kenya when it has erupted, and it's a lot of experience. And I believe this is something, if not all, most of the students should learn what is happening out there. This is what I learned from the cultural part, the weather, the food, and all that. It's really a very, very big experience that has impacted a lot of my life and my perspectives about life and life challenges. So I'm happy to be here to share my experience, to motivate other students to follow the same way. Thank you.
All right. Yusufu, I think that now that we have you, I want to start with you for the next session. And I think that it's very clear that for the past few years, there have been major efforts within the continent, to try to harmonize, for example, recognition systems, to try to harmonize, a lot of the mobility schemes that can ensure that if I study in, say, Ghana, right, or I study in, let's say, Togo, it can be comparable to the qualification that I could have gotten from my home country, right? And in most instances, you realize that one of the difficulties that students face when they are staying away from their home country is about how their qualification can be recognized in the other country that they will be studying in. And sometimes it's a challenge for most students because it's very difficult to assess their qualification and also to fit into the new education system. For example, in West Africa alone, there are two, within the Francophone system, there are two agencies which are quite different, right? So in speaking to the topic, navigating educational systems, comparing and contrasting educational systems and their impact on international, I would just want you to, because you have these varied experiences in studying in about 5 African countries, I want you to just paint a picture of what the situation is and how students can navigate this very complex system as they try to go into other countries to pursue their studies.
Well, thank you so much. I think I'm a typical example to talk about this. Because first of all, when I was traveling, I got a scholarship for a year, just 1 year. It's what is called credit seeking, which means I have started already my master's degree back home, I have to go outside the country in other universities so that I can get some other courses. Then I will come back home and add it to what I have learned from home. Then I will graduate from my home country. That's the first idea. Unfortunately, after traveling all the way from Benin to Kenya, what I have faced is only one thing at the beginning. I started my master's in gender studies and project management from home. When I reached Kenya, I applied for the same course, gender studies. Unfortunately, I was a single student enrolled in the course. And you understand easily that they can't mobilize, the whole university cannot mobilize all the lecturers, the venues and all that for me alone, because they have a target. They need to reach some number of students quite to be able to run the project. So I had to shift from the gender studies to another program. Finally, I did it in forced migration studies. Luckily, I will say so because I enjoyed the course. It's a very, very relevant course. But now, being a student in credit seeking, which means I have to just do the course within 1 year. Now, when I come back home, what will happen? We don't have forced migration studies back home. The program entirely does not exist. So finally, discussing with the lecturers, the coordinator of the projects, because it's a project within 5 countries, including Benin and Kenya. So this is what has made it easier to collaborate within the 2 universities. At the end, they allowed me to finish the course. So they changed my credit seeking scholarship to a whole degree seeking, which means I have to spend the whole 2 years, fully 2 years to finish the course. Then after that, the collaboration was easier because I remember meeting some other students who are not in the same case. So they come to other countries, they came to Kenya, from Ethiopia, from Zimbabwe, from Mozambique, within the same scholarship programs. But after learning, after studying, what happened? They go back with some relevant courses that were not taught back home. So they got a certificate from the host university, they take it back home, and they added those courses in the common program they have been following from home, which made them a different students from those who have not gotten a chance to go abroad and study, because those people have experienced a lot in terms of courses, in terms of ways of teaching and other things. So the collaboration was easier because of the assistance from the coordinators from the various countries. I think this is something very, very interesting, and some students should not even fear those small challenges. And I even believe they should apply for such scholarship programs, because it gives you a lot of experience, a lot of learning skills you might discover when you travel outside the country. That's what I can say. Probably the other colleagues will add more.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think that you said a lot of things that are worth noting. For example, one thing that I took away from your presentation is something that I think that has also been on the discussion table in terms of the collaboration between universities in 2 different countries as a very sure way of trying to, promote the transfer of credits, as you have indicated, and not trying to streamline the credit transfer systems through that process. And there's that collaboration between universities in those 2 countries. It makes it easier from students in one university in the other country to move at any level from that country to study in the other university in the other country. So thank you so much for that side. And I'm pretty sure that it's something that we should also consider moving forward. Moving on to the second presentation, Albert, you have a very interesting journey transitioning from Ghana from one program and then moving into Canada to pursue another program. And through that process, you have placed yourself as a very valuable individual, now heading NOOPS Canada, and also now even being part of the youth representation in Toronto, right? And I want you to speak on the topic building global networks. What are the strategies for building a diverse network of connection during international education? Because you don't want to come out the same person that you were when you left your home country. You want to be able to connect to new people, learn from new cultures, and then also, and as you did indicate, become a global citizen that we are supposed to be. So Albert, you have the floor for the next 7 minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Samuel. I'm very honored to be part of this meeting. Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to address this highly esteemed panel on the topic that is pivotal in today's interconnected world: building global networks, strategies for building a diverse network of connections during international education experience. I mean, in an era where globalization has become the norm rather than the expectation, the ability to cultivate diverse networks during international education experience is not just advantageous, it is not just important, it is essential. Whether you are a student, you are an educator, you are a professional, the value of establishing interconnections across borders cannot be overstated, and we are all aware of that. These networks can foster collaborations, innovation, mutual understanding across cultures and individuals. So for me to address this topic, I want to put it in a very big question. What strategies can we employ to build robust global networks during our international education experiences? And I'd want to put these strategies into 4 thematic areas. First and foremost, I would say let's embrace diversity in all forms. International education experience offer unique opportunities to engage individuals from different cultural backgrounds, different linguistical backgrounds, and even different socioeconomic backgrounds. By actively seeking out these diverse perspectives, we enrich our understanding of the world and broaden our horizon. We should be able to interact with people from different backgrounds, including the locals and then our fellow international students whenever we are out there. We must intentionally approach new experiences with open-mindedness and then be willing to learn from others. We have to be very curious about traditions and then perspectives. And then most importantly, we should also be able to ask questions respectfully. And I mean, when we are out there, especially as Africans, and we meet the whites, we meet the Latinos, we meet the browns. Sometimes we want to shy away. We are mostly always in our corners. But from my experience, one strategy that's really helped me through this journey is being open-minded, asking questions respectively, and then trying to, intentionally connecting with others. I would share some personal experiences at some point. Secondly, I would want us to prioritize meaningful engagement. And when I mean meaningful engagements, building networks, building real networks than superficial networks. Why do I say superficial networks? Building genuine connections requires time. It requires some level of effort and willingness to listen and learn from others. Instead of solely focusing on what we can gain from our interactions, let's approach networking in a different way. Let's bring up the spirit of reciprocity, seeking ways to contribute the success and well-being of others, the well-being of our peers, the well-being of our colleagues in school. Instead of trying networks with a lot of people, we should be able to focus on building few and meaningful connections that we can nurture over time. Mostly, we are made to believe that networks are to build ourselves. Yes, they are to build ourselves. But then again, when building networks in our international space, you should also look at how you can also contribute to someone's development, what you can also adapt to someone's life. And from my personal experience, the times I've been able to contribute to a project, the time I've been able to contribute to like a meaningful plan has got me meaningful connections than when I wanted something. So we should be very intentional about creating networks on the international space. Thirdly, I would want us to look at how we can leverage on technology. Let's leverage technology to overcome our geographical barriers. And in today's digital age, we have access to a myriad of tools and platforms that would enable us to connect with people across the group. Across the globe, whether through social media, online forums, virtual collaboration, technology, using the new media, would realize that technology has democratized the process of building global networks, making it easier than ever to forge meaningful connection, irrespective of physical distance. Today, we don't need to sit in a conference room at ASU to have this meeting. All we need to do is to connect on Zoom to meet people from diverse background, studying in different countries. It's 7:33 a.m. in Canada and it's evening in Japan, but we've been able to take advantage of technology and we are connected. You get it? No, not everyone. What I realize in the international space is that not everyone is comfortable with sharing personal contact with new people they meet. So let's take advantage of emails. Let's take advantage of LinkedIn and other professional platforms that we can connect with people. Let's not underestimate the power of face-to-face interactions when we get the opportunity. What I always do is to seek out for free seminars and free meetings to be part of in person. And anytime I get opportunity to pay for a conference, I do pay and then be part. I quite remember the first time I met one of the MPs of like our constituency, that's Brampton Center. It was through a free seminar for newcomers organized by one foundation. And the seminar was just to welcome newcomers and for them to share their experiences. And I got represented as the president of the National Union of Ghana Students. So the seminar was organized at the office of the Member of Parliament. So when we got there, we had the seminar. After the seminar, I got connected to the MP. I shared my experience back home, and he was interested because he is also an immigrant who came into Canada and is now a member of parliament. So then we connected. We had something in common, and then we connected. And he brought up an opportunity for me to volunteer in a fundraising program, and that would bring me to the last point I would want to tackle as a strategy, volunteering. So when he brought the offer to me, it wasn't a paid offer. It was just for me to be part of like a fundraising ceremony where I'd get an opportunity to meet other ministers and other MPs in Canada. So I was part of that program. It didn't pay, but the kind of connections I made today or tomorrow is going to help me than even if I was paid $100 million. So I believe that as international students and as individuals living our home countries, we should put ourselves out there to contribute to something. I would encourage volunteerism and taking up internship opportunities to immerse ourselves in a different culture, in a different cultural environment, and connect with people. We should be intentional about connecting with people. We should engage in meaningful service, meaningful projects, and that foster cultural exchange, and then try and build long-lasting connections. So from my personal experience, I'd say the strategies are very simple. We should be intentional about connecting with people. We should be intentional about volunteerism. We should put ourselves out there. Some of us have got diverse. Right. Some of us have got diverse potentials that the world needs. So if we don't put ourselves out there, we don't connect with people who can give us the opportunities to put ourselves out there, we won't be able to come out of our shelves. So you can be in Canada, but still have the Ghanaian mentality, still have the Kenyan mentality, and still have the Rwandese mentality. Meanwhile, if you are putting a little effort to go out of your shelves, you can connect with people that will put you on the global stage. Unless you want to be a local champion, you can always keep in your shelves and be a local champion. But if you want to be seen on international space, you have to put in extra effort. So in conclusion, building a diverse network of connections during international education experience is not just a professional asset, it's also for personal enrichment. And by embracing diversity and prioritizing meaningful engagement, leveraging on technology, fostering face-to-face interactions, and cultivating a mindset, very important, cultivating a mindset of lifelong learning, we can create networks that will transcend borders and enrich our lives.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Albert.
Thank you very much.
I see Esther laughing in that session, that do not keep the mindset of a local champion. Think now, because of tech, we are, connected. You are not competing with colleagues only from your home country. You are competing with colleagues everywhere. So developing a global mindset, developing an international mindset is a very important feature as a young professional to have in your arsenal. So thank you so much, Albert, for that introductory remark. Quickly, I want to move on to Stefan and Roger to speak on the topic support systems for international students, discussing the importance of support systems and resources for international students, including mentorship programs, as well as counseling services. Stefan and Roger, if you can hear me, you have the floor to make your introduction, your presentation.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Samuel. First of all, is it possible to share the screen, because I got a presentation and the PowerPoint presentation?
I think quickly, I'm asking the technical person to help us do this, to give you the Stefan. Yeah, Stefan.
Yes,
I think you should have that in about. Okay, so I think you can share your screen now.
All right. That's okay. That's a quick presentation, and I'm going to be really short. Okay, if all the people can see the presentation?
Yes, we can see it, Stefan.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so that's a presentation with around 7 slides, and I take a point for all the way coming for the student. First of all, I do my presentation again. I'm Stéphane Gillat. I represent ISTEC Business School. This is the French business school located in Paris. We exist since 1961, and we have a lot of certification, as you can see just below. We have the Bienvenue en France label. We are member of AACSB and EFMD, and we have a direct connection with Campus France. And Campus France, this is a really important step that Roger Tessa will speak with you, because that's the most important step to for the international student to go to France. Then, as I told you, I've got 6 points. For me, the second, the third, the fourth, and the last one is really important because this is all the help we can do for the international student. First of all, I'm going to do an international overview about ISTEC. And typically, we are like a lot of business school in France, because you have more than 4,000 business school. Yeah, 4,000 business school in France. and you have just 30 who have the label, the certification Grande École. And that is really important because when you want to target a business school or a school, you have to see if they have the recognition by the state. Then I do this overview. For me, it's really important. And then you have the list of all the support system we can do for the international student, the procedure before you arrive in France. That's really important because leave your country, that's not an easy choice and you need help. Then we can help you before arrive in France, during the trip in France, and also after. The reception and the integration services is really important too. This is an obligation for all the university and all the schools in French. And then we have also the FLE program. FLE program is French as a foreign language. This is not an obligation for, I want to assure you, this is not an obligation for the international student to speak French to integrate a French business school, because we have a lot of courses in English. Then if you speak English, that's okay. If you want to learn French, that's better, but this is not the most important. And then the last one, important one, the scholarships and the financial aid. Then ISTEC Business School, we have like 23% international student, and I don't know if you see the political actuality in France, but we are really open and we welcome a lot of international students, and we want to increase this number because we want more than 30% than the last year international student. Then in 2030, we would like to have around 5,000, more or less 500,000 students in the country. Now we have 4,100. Then we want to increase 1,100 more for the next years. At ISTEC, we have 23% international students. They come from over the world, a lot of country. A lot of in Africa, because the international mobility in France, we have less than more 70% of African students who want to go to France. The 30 other percent, they come from other parts in the world, but we have the majority who come from Africa, like in North Africa, West Africa, the French part, and also the English part, where they speak in English in the East part, or from Ghana, from Niger, from Kenya or Ethiopia, for example. We have a lot of programs and principal programs are the Grande École program for the masters, bachelor, MBA, doctorate, and FLE program. And as I told you before, we have courses in French and courses in English. All the certifications are here. Bienvenue en France, the connection with Campus France, Erasmus+, ESCSB, and EFMD. And you have a lot of schools in France who have the international partner assisting with the consular procedure. When you are not yet in France, we can help you with the international procedures. The administrative service are bilingual. Then if you don't speak French, that's not an obligation, and that's not really important, because you can speak with the people inside the school in English. And you have a personalized assistant and administrative procedure with the international team. And that's in all the recognized schools in France. I make the point with the word recognize, because when you want to apply for a school, take a look with the recognition. That's really, really, really important. You have, for me, 4 steps and 4 different kinds of support system for international students. The first one, before the arrival, the procedures before your arrival in France. Then the reception and integration services. The second one, the French classes. If this is a need, you can have French classes with directly at ISTEC or in other school, but we have a FLE program at ISTEC. And the last one, the scholarships and the financial system. Then you have 4 slides. The first one, the procedure. The second one, the reception. The third one, the French classes. And last one, scholarship and financial aid. I've got Roger Tessa with me. And before to introduce this slide, I think it's important for him and for us to share your experience. And then I let Yeah. I led the vote for Roger Tessa during 5 minutes, and after I beginning.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you, everybody. As I said a few minutes before, I'm an international student and also working at ISTEC as in charge of international admission and international promotion for a bachelor program. And before coming here in France, first of all, I want to remind, it's really important to remind something that today in the world, it's very important to be open-minded, and also why not having an international experience. It helps for people. It makes us grow in a certain way in terms of moral aspects, cultural aspects, and also professional and academic aspects. I've noticed 3 major steps to come here in France, which are all important. The first step is Campus France procedures. So first of all, when I was in Gabon, because I'm from Gabon. When I was in Gabon, I had to get connected to Campus France in order to choose a school and also a formation. In Campus France services, you have some advisor who can maybe take you for minutes in appointment, you know. They follow you in the whole process, and they help you to choose, as I said, a formation that can help you to join when you will be in France. So the first step, Campus France procedures, lasts around 1 month. School and your program, then you will have an appointment with Consular Campus France, and it will be an appointment of around 10 to 30 minutes in order to explain your project, your professional project and academic project. Then you will have the second one when you will get accepted by a school. For sure, you will have a second step, which is consulate procedures. The consulate procedures is consulate procedure is about the visa, which is very important as an international student. You should have a visa, a student visa to come. In the consulate, it will be asked to give some documents in terms of ID, in terms of financial support, in terms of housing support that you will have to provide. After that, you will come in France, and you will have also administrative procedures in terms of the validation of your visa. So the French state will have to validate your visa. It's very quick, and it's online. It's 1 month. You have around 1 and 3 months to do it. And here at ISTEC, we have services in terms of administrative procedures in order to help you to validate your visa, helping you to get a house if you don't have a house before coming. I know it's not easy as an international student to come in France and already get a house or somewhere to live. And we can share you our partner offers to get a house, and also advices for the rest. After that, the last one I've noticed is the integration at ISTEC or in integration at school in general when you come in France. It's really important, as Yusuf said before. I think every student should have an international experience, and we know that there are a lot of difficulties to when you come for the first time, or why not for a second time in another country to pursue your studies. You need help. So for your integration, it's important to connect to certain people who can help you in terms of advices, in terms of culture, who can help you to discover the country, the culture of the country, and also all the helps that the state, the state offer to the students. Students shouldn't fear about what they will have to do in terms of procedures. I think it's really important to notice that the whole steps I've talked about, the three major steps, are the major step that you should understand and notice. And also, why not ask your school, ask ISTEC, why not about what they can provide for you in order to get your professional and academic project done. I hope this quick presentation of my experience will help you. I didn't talk about my professional project, but what you have to notice is as international students, you have benefits of, you have advantages of working here in France. You have same rights than French students, which means that you can work, you can find a student job. For example, you can work at a restaurant, why not? You can work at hotel. I take those typical examples because there are examples that we have here at ISTEC. We have many students working in such of big places and commercial company to get money to build their own professional experience, and also develop and improving the professional experience. So you can work as a French student, and you can have a program of work and study, timing, which means that you will have, for example, 2 days of studying and 3 days of working, which is very interesting, I think, for students. And this is actually my own experience. So I think it was it to my presentation, and I hope it will help everybody here, every people we need to understand about those notions. So I will let Stefan take the rest of the presentation, and thank you very much to you. I will be open if you have any question after this presentation. Thank you.
Hello. All right. Thank you so much, Stefan and Roger. I think that during the question and answers, I'm pretty sure colleagues would have a lot of follow-up questions, and you can come back in again. So thank you so much, Stefan and Roger, for the overview of ISTEC, and I'm pretty sure when we are in the Q&A, colleagues would come back and with some questions and comments as well. Quickly, I want to move on to Clement. Clement would speak.
Sorry, Samuel.
Yes, Roger.
Yes, Stefan added. I just wanted to add one last thing about the procedures and also the financial aid in France.
Right. So we'll do that during another period so that we do not have to eat into Clement's time, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. So I kindly invite Clement to speak on the topic cross-cultural communication, exploring the nuances and challenges of communicating effectively across different cultural. I think that he had made a hint of this during his introductory remark. So now, Clement, I yield the floor to you to make your presentation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So as I mentioned earlier, where I am, there are very interesting stories that I could share, but for the sake of time, I would probably attempt sharing one of them at the end of my presentation. So the point is, why is culture on the agenda? And before I attempt to answer that question, I would like us to just take a quick exercise. So what do these signs mean in your country? So the first one is France. So it says that I raise two fingers towards your nostrils, and it means as easy as this. But to me, if you probably do this sign to me, it means you want to smoke, right? And then the second one is from Russia, and it says trace your thumb across your throat. And the meaning is I've had enough. But I mean, those of us who have watched lots of action movies will be able to tell that it means like it's a deadly sign. It means that you would see, I mean, literally, right? But here it says I've had enough. And then when you look at the third one, which is from Japan, I'm crossed away from your body. It means not allowed, or in Japanese we call it dame. Dame means it's not good. I mean, you need to stop. So these signs are mostly I mean, they're very popular in Japan. I mean, almost everywhere you go, once you are acting a certain way that is not allowed, you will see them showing you that sign. And the third one is from USA, and I think most of us will be very much familiar with it. It means everything is okay. But in some other cultural destinations or other cultural palaces, it means that it means something else, totally different. So, I mean, you need to be very careful about that. And the last one, which is very popular in Ghana, is scratch the palm of your left hand, which indicates money. So if someone scratches their palm, it means that give me money or pay me up. So these signs could mean one thing in your country, and then in another country, it could mean something else. So this brings us to the question, why culture? So culture is very necessary because it forms how we behave, it forms our perception, it forms how we assume certain things to be right or certain things to be wrong. So you realize that most of the things that we see, which are the visible signs that we see or the visible behavior that we see, actually have a deep-rooted, invisible depth of awareness. So this actually stems from the values, the beliefs, or the assumptions of the people or the person that you are interacting with. So if someone behaves a certain way towards you, one of the questions you need to ask is that, is it cultural, or is it just a unique individual's behavior? And once you're able to answer this question, you'll be able to see things from the angle of the person that you are engaging with. So imagine that you are just seeing an iota of it, or let's say a tip of the iceberg, and this person has probably formed these behaviors for so long, so it's very difficult for you to make any changes or to actually affect, their course of action towards you. So what's the best thing to do? The best thing to do is to see things from their perspective other than yours. So this image, which is AI generated, says that each of us perceives the world through the lens of our cultural view or our own cultural insights. So to be able to effectively engage and interact with someone, who holds a different worldview, you need to understand things from their perspective, as I said previously. So I'm introducing us to what we call cultural intelligence. So CQ, or shortly put, CQ knowledge. So cultural intelligence is the ability to relate and work smoothly with people from diverse backgrounds other than yours. And I should confirm that a company that I work with here in Japan, as an intern, actually they have a division where the purpose of that division is to enlighten or train their workforce to be able to work with people from diverse backgrounds. And I'm talking in relation to Fujitsu. So realize that Fujitsu is in so many countries and so many regions, and they have people working from various backgrounds. And so they actually have something we call CQ score, So CQ score, it's like an assessment that is conducted, periodically to assess their employees' understanding of CQ knowledge. So there are actually rankings within .7% of international ventures fail due to cultural differences. And you would ask that why 70 is quite a significant number. But the point is, everything about life is majorly based on culture. So even if you are pushing a new product into a new market or an emerging market, you need to understand the market, you need to understand the people, you need to do a whole research to be able to fix your product within the cultural context of the people, or else they would probably they would reject your product or your whatever idea you are bringing on board. And the next one is 8% of employees believe that university graduates are not prepared for diverse global workplace. It's admittedly, it's true that sometimes if you ask anyone that's working between people from your own region or from different region, which of these two parties would you be comfortable working with? And in most instances, the answer has been that I'm very much comfortable working with someone that I know or someone from my cultural context. And I mean, if you're someone who is considering going global, as Albert said, that you need to move from the village champion mindset. You need to know what CQ is. You need to embrace CQ, and you need to constantly be open-minded to learn that the world is becoming a global village. And you could be somewhere in Bumpurbu Yoyo, which is in Upper East region of Ghana, and be working with a Fortune 500 company in USA. So it's not an excuse not to know what CQ is or not to embrace CQ. And it says that 90% of executives say that cultural intelligence is a priority, a high priority in new hires. So I don't know about other regions, but currently in Japan, these are questions that you usually ask. Are you comfortable working with people from different backgrounds? What's your perception about this and that? So I'm sure this number should be high now, considering the time of this data that was collected. So the next slide is what can you expect? So what does CQ predict? So I have it in 3 categories. I will just delve on the first one, which is success at the university. We have success at the workplace and success in life. So it says that students with high CQ successfully adjust to living, studying, and working with peers from different cultural backgrounds. And in the presentation that was just given, I recall he mentioned about international students being able to work and the fact that you have support from the student body. But without CQ knowledge, without knowing how to engage these people, I'm not sure you'll be able to make a meaningful engagement with people from different backgrounds. So it's very, very important that considering living abroad or working abroad, you need to embrace cultural intelligence. So with cultural intelligence, you're able to make new friends easily. You're able to move out of your shell. I think Albert made a lot of emphasis on that. And also you'll be able to learn to manage the stress of living and studying abroad. Honestly speaking, the first time I got to Japan, like the first month, it was like, considering the fact that the language barrier was very high, you feel like, well, this place might not be for me. Because number one, you need to sort of find a job. You need to engage with people. You need to move around, and so it's quite stressful if you are just limited to what you are used to or from your cultural context how things should work. And he says that I think I just mentioned that cope with language barriers. So with CQ knowledge, you are able to adapt to any language barriers that you may face. And the very important point here is that it stated that applicants with high CQ knowledge stand apart from those who simply have good grades. So the world has moved beyond just having grades. You need to adopt CQ knowledge. I can't overly emphasize this. Okay, so how would we communicate in the future? How would we communicate in the future? Honestly, I can't tell how the future is going to be or how communication is going to change, because almost every day things keep changing and we need to learn to adjust. However, there are 3 key points that I have realized and I would like to share with you, which is, one is that just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. So sometimes from where we are coming from, or the cultural context, or the concepts, or the assumptions that we have, makes it look like, okay, if this point doesn't fit into my understanding of what is right, it means it's simply wrong. No, we need to move beyond seeing things from our perspective. And the fact that it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. Maybe take a step back and then look at it again. You might see the points that the other opponent is trying to make. Number 2 is be open-minded, ready to learn and unlearn. So if for the past years you've embraced certain ideas, you've embraced certain ideologies about life, how things should work, about workplace, about execution, and you move into a new environment, at least pause and then be open-minded, embrace how things are done there. In Japan, for instance, we have something called Kaizen. Kaizen is like continuous learning and improvement. So from my background, I like to get things working like quickly. But in Japan, it doesn't work like that. Japan, things need to follow certain procedure. It needs to take time. It needs to pass through certain bureaucratic lines, and those things must be approved from the head to the top. So imagine I come in with what I know. I'm definitely going to have a lot of friction working with people. So over the few months or a year, I have come to embrace this concept that probably there are certain things that I need to drop and there are certain things that I need to adopt. And the third one is focus on the goal, regardless of the individual differences. So whatever you are working on, whatever challenges they may be, whatever cultural difference it may be, just focus on the goal. Once you focus on the goal, able to see through what works and what doesn't work, regardless of the cultural differences. So in Japan, we say "gozaimashita." However, I think I still have some few minutes left, so let me just share this quick story. So when I got into Japan, I had this idea that I wanted to push. I think I'm stressing on Albert's point on personal space. I think he mentioned that, that abroad, yeah, you hardly see people, or you hardly have people sharing their personal contact with you. So when I got into Japan, I had this brilliant idea that I wanted to push. And there was this friend that I made. I mean, making friends isn't much of a big deal for me. However, my understanding about friendship is that once you have a good connection, once you're able to engage very well, you should be able to do things from there. But I realized that there was this kind of pullback from my friend. Okay, because I wanted to start the idea as soon as possible. But there was that drawback until I realized that in Japan, the fact that the person says hello, hi, how are you, they text you all the time, it doesn't mean that they want to deal with you. And so it is very important that you give them space, you give them time for you to be able to work into their hearts or to work into their life. So in that instance, they begin to trust you. So I've come to also understand that in Japan, you don't just start business talk. Even when you go for business meetings, there's something they call tea meetings. And tea meetings are the time, like it could be a day, it could be some hours before the meeting. And you use that time to talk about life. You use that time to get to know yourself. So once you jump into business, it's like, wait, we don't even know you. How can we deal with you? And it's dichotomously opposed to what we know back in Accra or back in Ghana or what I'm used to. We get things started, we get things going. So this was the drawback, or more like the experience that I had in the earlier days, and I've been able to adjust very well. So sometimes one of the projects I'm working on, I spent a whole month just corresponding with emails, here and there, until I finally met the project owner in, I think, a week ago in Tokyo. So a month of just email correspondence until finally said, okay, yes, you can visit us. So I had to. So this is just to confirm that you need to understand how things work in other in other countries. Pull back from what you know. Just assume that you know nothing, and then you would make some progress from there. Now the second point, Samuel, do I still have some time? I'd like to share my last.
That has wrap up in 10 seconds.
Oh, 10 seconds. That's fine. So let me touch on the
question and answers. Yes.
Volunteerism part. Okay. So volunteerism part is very important. I volunteered on a project on campus, and as I'm speaking to you right now, through that volunteerism, I have been added to a project by the Dean of Richmond Asian Pacific University to collaborate and work improving the MBA curriculum of the university. And I'm talking to you as someone who is just an MBA student, but because I volunteered and I showed relevance in my work, this is how far it got me. So volunteerism is the way to go if you are considering going global. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimashita.
Arigato.
Yeah, thank you.
So much. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I think that so far for all of our speakers, from Stefan to Roger to Albert to Clement and also to Yusuf, one thing that is similar throughout the presentations about the essence of having an open mind. It's about the essence of trying to, understand the different cultures or the different systems that you are likely to study in, and how to ensure that you are able to adjust, right? Because in our world now, if the people who don't likely live the future are those who are not able to adjust moving. So thank you so much, Clement. And finally, before we move on to the question and answer, I hope you are noting down your questions and also your comments. Before we move into that, I want us to move to Ohima. Ohima, are you online? Ohima Amwa.
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. We're happy to have you. Ohima is a student at Travis Adolphus College in Minnesota, USA. So, Ohima, in the next 7 minutes, I would want to invite you to speak on cultural shock and reverse culture shock. That is sharing experience and coping mechanisms for dealing with culture shock that Clement has also spoke about, and also the adjustment back to one's home culture after studying abroad. If you can hear me, you have the floor.
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Thank you. And thanks to everyone for having me here. I'm very privileged. It's a privilege to be here to talk about, to share my knowledge on this topic with you. And I'm very excited. Sorry, I lost my voice. It's because of the weather, sorry. So, the phenomena of cultural shock and its counterpart, which is reverse cultural shock. As an individual who have embarked on the adventurous path of studying abroad, we understand the complexities and challenges that comes with this immersing ourselves in unfamiliar cultures. Traveling from your home country to someone's country is not an easy task at all. It is not just easy. This cultural shock starts right from when you get to the airport, at where you're going, or point of entry, should I put it that way, before being through this. Now, one may ask, what is cultural shock? Cultural shock is often described as the discomfort which we experience when encountering a new culture. As a natural response to unfamiliarity of customs, traditions, languages, and social norms. Now, let me start with language. Even in the United States, we have different states, and each different states have ways of speaking. Their English language is different. So if you go to Minneapolis has a different way of speaking. Their language, their English language is different from those in Dakota. So imagine coming from a country or an African country to this country or these states. Everything will be so different for you. Now you go to a class where everybody is speaking, you'll be sitting there. Whatever the lecturer is saying, you will be just looking at this lecture like, what is going on? You don't understand anything. You wouldn't hear anything. It will take some time before you can
Hello? Hello? Have we lost Ohima? Can anyone hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Oh, sorry. Is it better now?
yes, we are good now, Ohima.
Okay. So I was talking about the language. I said even here in the United States, every state speaks differently. So speaking Dakota County speaks differently, that of St. Paul. They all have different languages. So looking at someone coming from an African country or a different country into US, you'll be confused even with their language. Now you'll be sitting in class and the lecturer will be lecturing or the professor will be talking and you just be looking at the professor like, what's going on? Like, what are you talking about? It's not just easy, even with the language. Sometimes you have to record whatever the professor is saying, get to your room and play to understand whatever the lecturer said or the professor said. So that is one point. The second point is their food. Everything here is sugary. Let me put it that way. You know, these people like sugary stuff. Let me put it that way. Every food they eat contains sugar. And looking at where we are coming from, our food is not all about sugar. It's spicy and all. So it becomes difficult adjusting with their with eating their food too. Now you'll be in class and you'll be getting this bowel sounds in your stomach because of their food or the food you ate. Also with their dressing, you know, where we are coming from, we dress to cover ourselves, but here it's not like that. They dress like to suit, should I say, to suit them, and it's not a bad thing. That is their culture. Adjusting to this also becomes a problem because where you are coming from, everybody is covering themselves, but here you have to learn how they dress. And in summer, you have them dressing in a different way. In winter, dressing in a different way. That also becomes a problem. And it's also part of the culture shock we also go through. And here too, with greetings, we don't go like good morning, say good morning, ma, good morning. No, you see someone, hello, hi. You'll be in class with someone. You go out, you try saying hi to the person, and it's like you've not even met the person before, but this is someone you sit in the class with, and it's normal. When you go through all this, you ask yourself questions. Is there anything wrong with me or something? No, there is nothing wrong with it. It's normal with them. You have to adjust to this culture in a different country. Yes, amid the initial discomfort and uncertainty, cultural shock also presents us with invaluable experience or opportunities. It teaches us to embrace diversity, broaden our perspectives, and cultivate empathy towards others who may come from different walks of life. Through cultural shock, we learn to adapt, to communicate across barriers, and to find common ground with those with different backgrounds as well. However, as sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ohima.
Yes. So in as much as the culture shock brings us discomfort and disorientation, it also presents to us a lot of opportunities that if you pay attention to, you'll be equipped, should I say equipped? You'll be endowed with a lot of knowledge because these people present or the environment we find ourselves in gives us a lot of opportunities. You can explore if you put away that discomfort and focus on the positive aspects of this culture shock. You'll be able to come out with a lot of knowledge, a lot of ideas, diverse ideas, and a whole lot. That is what I would say. Now, if hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Emma.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it keeps going on and off. Sorry. Okay. However, as we begin to adjust to our new surroundings, a time comes where we have to go back home. And as we return back home, it also becomes a problem. Should I say a problem for us? And with this return, often comes as a surprise or sometimes overwhelming phenomena, which is called the reverse cultural shock. It's the sensation of feeling like a stranger in your own land. The reverse cultural shock is like a feeling like a stranger in your own land. Now, we struggle to reconcile the changes within ourselves with the familiarity of our home culture. You become a stranger in your own home because you've adjusted and you've adapted to new culture, and you've brought it back to your own home, or to your should I say, to where you are coming from, or where you come from. You become a stranger. You now have to readjust. Even in your own home, you now have to readjust, because you left your own culture, you adapted new cultures, you inculcated a whole lot of things. Now back to your own home country, you have to now readjust. That transition back to our native soil can also be challenging, if not more. We may find ourselves grappling with a sense of experiences we left behind, while simultaneously
I think we might have lost Ohima again. So I think that at this point, I would want to say thank you so much to all of our speakers. I think that we've learned so much, and I want to now open the floor for questions, comments. You can, if you are shy to speak, you can, of course, put your questions or comments in the chat. But if you are able to unmute yourself and also speak as well, I will kindly ask that you raise your hand, and then we'll call on you.
Hello.
Hi, Ohima. I think we
Hi.
might have lost you.
Yes, I'm having this difficulty at where I am now. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Perhaps
a whole
what
lot
I
of time.
kindly ask of you is to maybe in the next 30 seconds, try to wrap it up, and then we move into questions and answers.
Okay, so one may ask, how do we cope with these challenges and all? First and foremost, we must seek out support networks. And I think all of our speakers spoke about this networks and all. We have to seek support networks. Secondly, we must prioritize an open communication with people. And lastly, we must remember to prioritize self-care. It has to come first, whether it be through mindfulness practices, creative experiences with other people and all. You have to get time for yourself. You have to make time for yourself, because here is very stressful. If you don't make time for self-care, it's going to be a whole lot for you. Yes. So in closing, cultural shock and reverse cultural shock are not merely obstacles to overcome, but rather opportunities for growth, resilience, and transformation. By embracing the challenge of cultural adaptation with courage and compassion, we not only enrich our own lives, but also contribute to ourselves, human experience, and increasingly interconnected world. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ohima, for the excellent presentation on cultural and reverse cultural shock. Sometimes, I mean, I haven't stayed in outside of my home country for too long, but for colleagues who have done so, sometimes you would that they are not even of how to even pay for stuff in terms of get a change. And people start calling them, in Ghana we call them boga, isn't it? They are now unsure of how to fit in again. So I think that of course, as you have indicated, it's important to also think about how to integrate people when they are going into new cultures and how to reintegrate them to their home country's culture once they have stayed away for quite some time. So thank you so much for that presentation. I'm pretty sure that colleagues would have some questions, comments. Clement, I think that Yusuf is asking whether you have slides. I think that if you can do so, we can collect them and then also share with colleagues after the session. So now I'm opening up the floor for questions, for comments, and I'm sure our panelists will be happy to respond to them. Perhaps we'll also wait for the questions. Stefan, are you able to, I think that Roger mentioned that you have something more to share. So while we wait for the questions, if you can please take the floor and then complete the presentation as you were doing it, if that's okay.
Yes, I can share the last slide. I think it could be really helpful. That's for the financial aid when you go to France, and how does France support you financially. Like all the international students can have this kind of help when they go to France. First of all, they can have the financial housing assistance provided by the government. The name is France is APL. Then you have less or more 30% of reduction for the accommodations. Each private school could have independent scholarships to help the international student. And then after 2 years in France, you can have the state scholarship. That's an obligation, and all the international students can have this kind of scholarship. As Roger told you before, he did an apprenticeship at ISTEC. Then this is available after the second year in France. And when you do apprenticeships, all the fees are paid by the company. For the two last one, internships, you can have internships each year. And with the student visa, each student can work 20 hours a week. Each business school have a job hunting assistant. Then if you want to find a job, we can help you to find it. So that's what I want to add of my presentation.
Okay, great. So Stefan, I think that while we wait for colleagues to ask the question, I have a little bit of question that I'm pretty sure colleagues may also want to ask similar. That now that you shared this, if let's say any of our colleagues on the platform want to apply for a program or for a scholarship, where do they begin from?
First of all, they have to apply for a school in France. That's the first step. The first step is to pass by to do a registration at Campus France. At Campus France, you have a website. The name is Étudiants France and Bourse Campus France, scholarship from Campus France. Then you can type the schools or the kind of scholarship, and they're going to find the scholarship. So the first step is to do a registration and to apply for a school, and the second step is to find your own scholarship.
Just a quick follow-up on that one. I think Esther has a question.
Yes,
so that's
yes,
saying that does it not affect the student visa status? That is getting a job whilst you are studying in France. Does it not affect your student visa status?
Okay, that's a really good question, Esther. It's going not to affect your student visa because with the student visa, you have the right to work during 20 hours a week. Like French student, you can work during your studies. For example, for the bachelor program, it's around 20-25 hours for the courses, and then you can add 20 hours more to work. So it's not going to affect the student visa statute, trust me. And yes, Yusufu, I'm going to find the link and share it with the chat. I think you talk about the scholarship link, scholarship Campus France link, yes?
Campus France, I'm sure that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I take a look and I
Perfect.
send you that.
All right. Any more questions? Okay, so I think that on Facebook, somebody might have asked that how do you join NUCS or National Organ? I'm pretty sure you're referring to what Albert might have shared on. If you want to reach out to Albert, please send us a private and send you out. You can reach out to him and you the team. So I think another question from Alice to you. I see a lot of questions coming to you,
Yes.
Stefan. Another question about, is it a fully paid scholarship to the students? Or are they mostly fully paid scholarships or are there partial scholarships?
Thank you, Alice, for the question. For the first year, not a fully scholarship. After 2 years, I talk about the apprenticeship because apprenticeship and scholarship for me the same things because you're not going to pay for the fees. So first of all, the first year you can have a scholarship from the school, from private school, and it's not going to be fully. It's around 30 or 40%, depend of the school. For the APL, so the housing help for the accommodation. And after you can work 20 hours a week if you want to pay for the fees. For a fully scholarship, it could be possible, but after 2 years in France, and it's going to be around 500 until 600 euros each month. Then you also have, as I told you before, the apprenticeship. An apprenticeship, the company going to pay the full fees for you. So for the first year, you're going to spend money, and after you can have help, for example, the APL or a PAT scholarship. But for the second year, it could be free if you have the help of scholarship or for the work study program.
Right. Okay, thank you. So Alice, there you have it. I think that Yusuf wants to share something about how he got a scholarship. So Yusuf, could you please do that in 2 minutes? And after that, I move to Albert.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if I'm audible. Am I? Yeah. So thank you. What I want to add in what people have already shared so far, my story about how I got the scholarship. There is that mindset in my country, and some of us maybe here, we believe that when you get a chance to apply for a scholarship, we believe that it's given, it's already shared among some people, and there is no need of applying. That is the mindset some people might have. I challenged someone about getting the scholarship because there was a day, it was even a weekend, a Sunday, I visited one of my friends somewhere very far, like 10 kilometers. I decided to go and check on him. When I met him, he told me that there is an opportunity, somebody shared with him about a scholarship, something like that. He was interested, he wanted us to go and print and see what does it look like. I'm the one who even encouraged him. We look for a cyber on Sunday because people have already closed. They don't work on Sundays, they're resting. So it has been hard for us to get a cyber to print those scholarships. The brochure, it's on paper. So after going through all of it, we made 2 copies. He had one, I also had one. But imagine after a week, I keep on checking on my friend. I wanted us to apply for the scholarship, but he refused. He totally refused, saying it's already, we cannot get it because people might have already their friends, their family, their parents. That's how they share some opportunities around here. So I insisted, but he refused. I decided to apply. He told me, if you are interested, go and apply. That's all. And there is one of the requirements saying we need to publish something. But I did not have any publication, but I decided to try my luck. Because I know that if among the criteria, if I can meet 80% or 90%, I do not need to have the 100% of all the criteria to meet all of them. I decided to apply. The person who signed my recommendation letter, my friend, that friend of mine, he's the one who took me to his brother who is a lecturer in our department. He's the one who took me to his house. Then I got a recommendation letter signed by him. Finally, the result came out. I got the scholarship. I traveled to Kenya for my academic journey. The scholarship sponsored was 600 euro per month. Let me tell you, I did my master's, I completed, but during my academic stay in Kenya, I am the one who used to send him some money in that scholarship I had, because he was at home, keep on complaining, there is nothing he's getting, there is no job, there is nothing. So I want us to understand, I believe some of our brothers are still here who are willing to apply. If you want to apply, it has been already said, keep in mind that you want to apply to succeed. You need that scholarship, just apply, try your luck. No matter what people are telling you, never give up. If you apply once and you failed, apply the second time. If it's failed, keep on applying until you get it. That's what I want to share with my fellow participants. Thank you.
I would want to just title this presentation you made, Yusufu's Story of Resilience. Yeah, I want to congratulate you, and then perhaps I think that you share very useful lessons that other colleagues can also learn from. That sometimes when you try that it doesn't work, you try to get it right.
Sure.
So thank you so much for sharing that inspiring story, and for your friend who receives money from you, we also wish him well, and we hope that he also gets in there next time. Albert.
Yeah, I would also want to ask about the Tech. Yeah, even though I'm in Canada, maybe I would also want to go and study in France for a year. So in Canada, how do I locate Campus France? Because I tried and I didn't see any of your offices over here. Maybe I want to come and take a year master's and then come back to Canada.
Yes, Stefan, would you respond to that? Or Roger?
Is it possible to repeat the question? I just heard you come from Canada, and you want to know if it's possible from Canada to go to France?
No, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a Ghanaian, but I'm currently in Canada.
Okay.
So I want to locate the Campus France in Canada. So probably I can take a year master's in France and probably later come back to Canada. Yeah.
Which city?
In Toronto.
You're from Toronto. You have Campus France at Toronto, but basically from Canada to France, there's not an obligation to pass by Campus France. If you want to go to France, you can directly pass by the visa way and the consulate. So if you want more information, because they have an information statue there in Canada, if you want more information about French school, you can do those information, but there's an obligation. Directly, you can apply for the school.
No, I mean I want to come to iStake
and after to iStake too. That's the same the same way. If you want, I share you my email address here in the chat, and you can contact me directly by email, and I will send you all the information to apply. The first thing is to send us an application by email with the CV, motivation letter, with the transcript of the diploma, for example, and then we're going to do an interview, a motivational interview. but from easier because we have easier help. I don't know how I can say that. Des accords précis avec le Canada.
Relations.
Agreements.
Yeah, we have great relation with Canada, and that's easier from Canada to France and from to France from Canada.
All right, great. So Albert, there you have it.
Yes,
Yes, Mohammed.
yes, thanks to all of the presenters.
Hello, Mohammed. I've lost you. Question in the comments, in the chat. All right. So I kindly, as we prepare to wrap up, I kindly invite all of my panelists to make a
Hello,
minute,
are you
and then we can close this off. So Albert, I yield the floor to you to make your closing remark. Hello, Albert. If you can hear me, I yield the floor to you to make your closing remark.
Yeah, hello, Samuel.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm back. Yeah, so I first of all want to thank the ASU team for inviting me. It's been a very insightful session. I mean, getting connected with my colleagues all over the world and meeting on a common platform. We didn't have to buy a ticket to be seated in a conference room, but thanks to technology, we've been able to have this informative session. And I must say, I'm very proud to be part. And so I'd encourage everyone listening, watching from all over the world, that you should take a very bold step to go out of your comfort zone and then learn something new. If it's a conference, apply for it, attend. I told you this dream of going international was born out of a conference way back 2019 when I had my first opportunity to move out of the country. It was intra-continent travel from Canada to Rwanda, but that experience alone gave me a different perspective about life. And today I'm here. Maybe next year I'll join my friends in Estec for a year in France, and then I don't know where else I would be going. But the goal is to keep doing what we are doing the map. Yeah, thank you very much. I would be happy to join the next seminar with you.
Thank you so much, Albert, and gladly would want to have you on our next series of sessions. Quickly, I move on to Clement. Clement, if you can hear me,
Right.
you have the floor.
So just to add something, I challenge everyone to move from their comfort zone. Pick up new challenges, move to new destinations. And I'm sure those destinations, those difficult or those challenging, destinations would shape your life. One of the things I feared coming to Japan was the language barrier. And the other one was also the work culture. But here am I, and I'm enjoying every single day. And I think that in life, if you don't pick up challenges, you really don't even know how far you can go. You're unable to unravel the potentials that you have in you. So sometimes, just like I think Yusuf shared his story, that sometimes you think, okay, many people have applied for this scholarship, so there's no need for me to apply. But you need to keep on, applying. Move out of the comfort zone, and you would have a new experience about life. In my chat, I think I sent 2 scholarships. I think the first one is JICA. I spelled it wrongly. So these are 2 fully funded scholarships in Japan. comes with monthly stipend, and is very good if you're able to get them. So JICA and JAT, you can look up to, I mean, you can check them out. And if anyone needs any support to get to Japan, they can reach out to ASU, and I'll be very much willing to give my best shot. Thank you to ASU for inviting me as well. And to the rest of the panelists, thanks a lot for sharing your insights. I've learned a lot today. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Clement, for sharing those with us. I think that perhaps Hilda can leave her contact details in the chat. And as Clement has said, if you need any support, you can reach Hilda, and Hilda can help you reach out to Clement, support you in case you want to study in Japan. I invite Stefan to also make your concluding remarks.
Yes, Samuel. But just for to conclude, thank you very much for to Azu for the welcoming. I hope you have all the information to integrate a business school or a school in France. As Yusufu said, if you want a scholarship or if you want to beginning all the step to France, the first step is really important. Then. Yeah. Don't be shy. Don't do the things. This is really important to do the things and to do the first step. Then if you want more information with Azu, we have a direct link with Azu. Then you can speak and talk with them. You can send email. You can participate with all the conference. Take all the information just with Google. The first thing with Google, you take a look with the name of the formation. You take a look with Campus France, with all the administrative ways, administrative steps. And if you want more, because you know, when you go in another country, that's an experience. That's an experience, a professional experience, and university experience, and an experience of life. Because you have a lot of people. I don't know, perhaps Samuel, Clément, or Yusufu. You've been outside abroad, and you take a different way of life. You see different people, and now you are really opening to perhaps or come back in the country to develop the country, or develop your own skills for a firm or for a company. Then when you have this kind of experience in France or in Canada, US, or in other country, you're going to have a really good baggage to sell you for the professional way. So for me, that's really important to do this first step. That's why I want to say for the conclusion, and really thank you to that we are really lucky with this kind of intervention to speak with people, because we can share a lot of information, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you very much, Samuel, and thank you, Hilda, for the welcoming.
Thank you, Stefan. The first thing to do is take the step. Thank you so much. So I move on quickly to Roger. Roger, you have the floor.
Tu veux dire un petit mot?
Yes.
Yes, your closing
I
remarks.
wanted to say thank you to everybody, and thank you especially to you, Samuel and Hilda also for inviting us to this appointment. I think it was very important for everybody, because in a certain way we are going to leave each other with a certain plus value, which is very important. We have a lot of information to share, and it was a real pleasure for me to share my own experience. I hope that it has helped a lot of people, and as Stefan said, we are open, and if some people have any questions, any request, we are open to it. And also, last thing is about the international experience. I wanted to add that it's very important, as Stefan has said, that it's very important to understand that making the first step is is about ourselves. I mean, once you start doing the first step, the rest will look more easy. The rest will look easier, and you can ask questions to people, you can contact the services, you can go to people, ask them about the procedures, and yes, don't be shy, don't fear people, and yes, be open to the world and open to people to in order to achieve goals, which is very important. Yes, so thank you for inviting us to this rich and productive experience. And yes, I hope we'll meet maybe very soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Georgia. So two more. I invite Yusuf to make your concluding remarks, after which I will also invite him to make a conclusion. Yeah, so Yusuf, if you can hear me, you have the floor. I think we might have missed Yusuf. Okay, so once again, thank you all so much for deciding to join today's session. We've learned a lot about cross-cultural communication, about building global networks, about opportunities, among others. So thank you so much, first and foremost, to Hilda for putting. Hilda Bequin is the working group leader of the Migration and Mobility Working Group at the All Africa Students Union, and also to all of our wonderful panelists for making the time to join us. And finally, of course, to you, the audience, to join our session. Until the next time, I want to borrow the language of Clement to say arigato sama for joining. I wish you the very best, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.